than breast cancer.
I am more than gastric cancer.
I am more than Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 3.
I am more than Lynch syndrome.
I am more than metastatic male breast cancer.
I'm more than PMDD.
I am more than diabetes.
I am more than lupus.
I am more than FAP.
Welcome to More Than a Diagnosis. I'm Den.
And I'm Jess. This podcast is about so much more than cancer, chronic illness, or the labels we've been given. It's about reclaiming our lives, finding community, and thriving in ways we never thought possible.
Whether you're a patient, a caregiver, or just someone curious about what it means to live beyond a diagnosis, we're so glad you're here. Do you feel like when treatment ends, it's kind of like you're just expected to move forward? It's not really always that simple, right?
No, not at all. I feel like everybody assumes once chemo was done, and especially once surgery was done, that we would just be back to normal. But we have to adjust to a whole new reality.
Yeah, there's so much to navigate that people definitely don't talk about enough. You're first not in active treatment anymore, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everything's gone back to normal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people don't realize that life after treatment is literally its own journey. We're figuring out how to move forward, not only physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. And it's not clear exactly what that looks like. I feel like when we're given our treatment plan after diagnosis, especially for cancer specifically, there's a start date and a proposed end date, right? And when you come to that end date, it's done, but it's not, because there's so much fallout after that you have to kind of clean up the pieces, regardless of whether you've worked or not. And survivorship is just tricky. There's a lot that I feel that we're not expecting as survivors that isn't warned. It's like, you go to the doctor and they tell you, okay, you can expect these side effects, you can expect this to happen, you can expect your hair to fall out. They're telling you what to expect. And I'm not really seeing that when it comes to survivorship. I'm not really seeing them say, okay, here's what to expect now.
Right? And I feel that during treatment, you're experiencing so many side effects. And those side effects will most likely linger after you're done with treatment. It takes time for the body to get rid of all of that. And not everyone reacts the same way to treatment, and not everyone is going to feel the exact same way post-treatment.
I couldn't agree more. When I was on immunotherapy, Keytruda, pembrolizumab, whatever people know it as, I started to have some really not great side effects, and they really added up over time, and my body was really struggling, and I was not prepared for the physical nature of how things would be when treatment ended. I knew that my body would not be the same, obviously. I had a mastectomy. I'm flat. There's a lot of adjustments that come with that physically, but I didn't expect to be a year plus out of treatment and still dealing with physical side effects. And I think oftentimes an experience that I see with survivors is that we have a lot of support while we're going through treatment. We have a lot of folks who are checking on us and cheering for us and sending us messages. But then once we get that quote unquote clean bill of health, we've had surgery, we've been given the, hey, you're no evidence of disease, then it slowly just kind of starts fading away because everybody's like, oh yay, you're cancer free, you're good now, right? When really, I feel sometimes that there's more support that's needed for folks when they're done with treatment.
Absolutely. And I feel people don't understand the concept of life after treatment. I feel that people tend to want you to get better so badly that I think they don't do this on purpose, but once you're done, they almost feel relieved.
Yes.
And expect you to be bouncing back, being your usual self because you're done.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much aftermath.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure to get back to normal.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I don't think that this happens for everyone, but from my own personal experience and what I've observed from folks in our community is for a lot of us, there isn't getting back to who we were. It is figuring out how to live in this new body, figuring out, chemo ages you. It's a scientific fact. I don't know what the specific numbers are, but when you go through these harsh treatments, I don't know what the word is, physiologically ages you?
Yes, it does.
It ages you. And so you're not going to be the same person that you were before. And unfortunately, that comes with a lot of guilt and also a lot of fear. And those are really tough emotions to manage because for me as a mom, I feel a lot of guilt for not being able to be the same kind of mom that I was prior to my diagnosis. I could go like nobody's business and push through everything. And now I literally will just hit a wall and I cannot. It's not that I don't want to. I literally physically cannot push past a certain point anymore. And then it's the fear of, is this how it's going to be forever? Or is this temporary? And not knowing. And then the fear that a lot of folks deal with of recurrence. Because if you're having a lot of symptoms, then it makes you wonder, well, am I good? Is it coming back? How do I know? And so it's challenging because we're dealing with all these different emotional things on top of the physical things while being expected to just move on.
That part. It's not just the physical aspect of going through treatment.
Mm-hmm.
You change emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah.
Psychologically, there are changes that occur.
Yeah.
Along with those physiologic changes that our body experiences.
Yeah.
We're not the same.
No. And the thing is, too, I feel like when it comes to folks who are in our lives, whether it's family or friends or acquaintances, if they haven't been there on a deeper level every step of the way, then they don't really know this new version of me because I'm not the same person that I was when I was first diagnosed. And I know that even though you haven't had cancer, so you're not necessarily like a survivor, but I know that you can relate to that because we've talked about this before about how going through something major, diagnosis medically, going through trauma emotionally, that changes you on a whole nother level. And if you're trying to heal yourself physically and emotionally, you're not going to be the same person.
No, it's getting back to a new normal.
Yeah.
And people expect that old you. But after so many changes, it's not going to be the same person.
I mean, I've heard people say like, before I got diagnosed, I was a big people pleaser and I just wanted to, make everybody happy. I was the peacemaker. And then they go through diagnosis and they're like, no, I can't do that anymore. I got to take care of myself. Who's going to take care of me if I don't take care of me? And so that shifts. And so I think it's a hard adjustment because sometimes we don't want to go back to who we were before. And when friends and family don't understand the transformation that you've been through, not only physically, but also mentally, then they're left feeling like kind of left out.
Yes.
Like, who is this like, I don't know her.
Like, oh, she changed. Who is this person?
Yes.
I don't know her. And in fact, they are right. They don't know that new version. In fact, I feel we're starting to get used to that new version, we don't even feel,
yeah,
are like ourselves.
And sometimes I feel like we like it better, right?
Yes.
Like, not for everybody. It takes adjustments and it takes acceptance of this new norm. But sometimes we like this version of us better.
Yeah.
And we're comfortable with this version, but they've not yet gotten to know this version of us. The other day I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw this video with a completely different perspective of somebody saying, you can get back to your old self. It's, you don't have to accept a new normal. For me, I'm like, how? How do you get back to your old self? And do you really want to get back to your old self? Like, maybe some people were healed before they had cancer. And so maybe they're like, well, I want to get back to the old me because I was this and I was great and I was, and maybe in that case, like, maybe that's how you can get back to your old self. I don't know.
I feel like, at least for me, and I can only speak for myself,
Same.
But before the trauma and before desmoid tumors and FAP, I really thought I had it all figured out. I thought I was happy. I thought this was the best version of myself until my life fell apart and shattered into a million pieces. And so the way I see it is picking up those pieces and putting them back together, they're not going to fit the same way. Because it's shattered into a billion pieces.
Yep.
So it's almost as if by putting those pieces back together, there's this new version of me. That this girl that fought through all of that learned that wasn't really the life she wanted.
Yes.
This girl figured out that she didn't really like that version of herself. That so many changes really need to happen for her to be the best version of herself and for her to really find true happiness. And
absolutely.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I find it mind-boggling that I had to go through trauma and all of the physical issues I went through to be who I am now.
Yeah.
And it is not realistic for people to think I'm going to be back to who I was.
Not at all.
This girl has grown so much.
And for the better. It's all been for the better. That's something that I've talked about quite a bit, I feel, is that I don't want to go back to the life that I had before. And it's not because I had a bad life. But I didn't take care of myself. I didn't love myself. I didn't know how to love myself.
Yes.
I was putting everyone else before myself and in not a healthy way. And so the way that I like to look at it, yes, I do have to accept a new normal. But I get to decide, you said your whole life fell apart into all these little pieces. Well, we get to decide what of those pieces are we going to pick up and bring with us, and what pieces are we going to leave behind. Because even if you thought you had it all figured out, I personally feel, and again, I can only speak for myself, but I personally feel that there are things that I can learn from these terrible, horrible experiences to then put my life back together in a way that feels right.
Yeah.
And in a way that, it's in a way that's just like, it's a gift almost.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here just literally scratching my head like, wow, we really needed to go through all of that to become who we are now and to feel a little more comfortable in our skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also feel like it is important, or it has been important for me, to have support of people who understand what this feels like. Because our friends and family are probably not going to get it. And that's okay. They're not doing something wrong because they can't understand what it's like if they've never been through it. And it's to no fault of their own. We don't want them to know what it's like.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right?
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Right?
For starters, let alone, my actual family.
Yes, like I always say, like, I'm glad that I'm the one who got cancer.
Same. Not about cancer, but my diagnosis.
No, I know what you mean. But like, I'm glad that it happened to me. Out of anybody in my family, out of any of my friends, like, I'm glad that it's me and not anybody else. But I can't expect them to understand what I'm going through emotionally and what I'm going through physically. And so having a supportive friend group or a supportive space where I can go and feel seen through all of these experiences has been absolutely crucial for me, because there's just a lot of this that unless you know, you just don't know.
Absolutely. I go back to our community on TikTok.
Yeah.
And we may not all have the same diagnosis, but we have a lot of similarities and we get it.
Yeah.
And there's just something empowering about being around folks who just get it. You don't have to go into this depth of how you're feeling because people just know.
Yeah. You know, it's really funny because our oldest daughter is graduating from high school, and which is so exciting
So
and also just
exciting.
like crazy to think about, because I can't believe that I'm old enough to have a daughter who's 18 and graduating high school. It's a huge accomplishment. And the fact that we homeschooled from the very beginning and now she's graduating, like, this is a huge accomplishment for both of us. But that's besides the point. I say all that to say, so we're sending out graduation announcements. And, you know, we took pictures and it was so fun. We want our friends and family to, you know, who don't live around here, because we live at a distance from a lot of the people in our lives. So we want to send out announcements. And I realized yesterday that I really don't have a lot of people's addresses. I'm not very good at that. I've never been great about sending things in the mail to begin with. So I had to send out like 24 texts yesterday, gathering people's addresses. And it was a really interesting experience, because a lot of these folks I have not talked to in a few months, you know, and it's fine. Like, there's no, it's not because I'm not saying this because like there's something wrong with that. It's just the way it is. They're family, friends. They're people that, you know, when we see each other, it's great. We love each other. They have a special place in our lives, but we don't like interact on a daily basis. So
did you feel like they didn't know you? Was it awkward?
It was like, you know, it's interesting because I know that it all comes from a place of love, and I'm not shaming anybody, but I'm a completely different person. And also, being a cancer survivor, when people ask you, so how are things? How are you doing? It's so complicated because I don't always know how to answer. I don't want to lie and be like, everything's good, because everything's not good.
You're like, which version?
Yeah.
Short and sweet, or
yes. And it's like, I
long?
want to keep it short and sweet, but also I'm like, it's so complicated. There is no short and sweet. And so it's like, I'm waiting to see a rheumatologist. I'm having pains every day. I'm having debilitating fatigue. I am getting monthly injections and having to go see my oncologist every 4 weeks. And I'm going through a bunch of tests. There's just so many things going on in my life. And I just found myself being like, you know, I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not something that, like, that's not just an easy conversation to have.
No.
And I think it's a difficult conversation for survivors in general to answer the question of how are you? And
it's a loaded question.
It's such a loaded question. And I know you know that as someone who lives with chronic illness. And so I feel like when it comes to community, what I'm finding is that folks who have been living with chronic illness for a long time are the people that I relate to the most, in addition to survivors, because they know what it's like to live with these things. They know what it's like to have somebody ask you how you're doing and to not know how to answer that. Yeah. And it's not because I don't want people to ask me. I know that it's coming from a good place. And I appreciate that people want to know how I'm doing. But for me, as a cancer survivor, it's complex because I don't know what to say.
And I feel like when you do jump out on that limb and tell them how you really feel, I feel like it gets a little awkward, at least, in my experience, when someone I haven't spoken to, and this actually happened to me a couple of days ago, someone I hadn't spoken to in like at least a year asked me, so how are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, where do I begin? And so you're
like, I'm trying to go back to work. I'm dealing with symptoms of my medication.
I don't have a coolant, so my life looked like this, and this, and this. So it was just so interesting because I did like a short, condensed version.
Yeah.
Just because I hadn't spoken to that person in so long, just kind of like giving them a little debriefing.
Yeah.
And then it was
they don't know what to say. I know.
And I'm like, come on, say
it's
something.
Almost like you feel bad for them, right?
Yes, I felt terrible because I said maybe I shouldn't have said all of that. And then I thought about it and I'm like, well, no.
But this is your life.
But this is my reality.
Yes.
This is what my life is really like.
Yes, and I think these are the things that are not talked about publicly enough. Because we don't want to shame people. It's not about shame. No. Because we know this is coming from a good place. We know that this is coming from a place of love. We know that they care about us. And we also know that they're floundering in like, what the hell do I say?
Yes.
And so we feel for them. But then also, this is our lived experience. This is our everyday life. So are we expected to just act like we're fine? And like everything's okay? That doesn't feel right.
It doesn't. And it almost feels like you're suppressing
things.
That's how I
And I ain't doing that no more.
And that's the thing.
That's something that is a piece of me that is being left behind.
We are not doing it. And, it's funny because my therapist, she'll say, so how are you doing? And I'll say, fine. Yeah. And then she responds with how are you really doing? And I appreciate that so much because she sees me.
Yeah.
And she understands that.
Definitely.
Fine doesn't even begin to encapsulate how I feel.
Absolutely. And I think that that's where having community comes into play, right? Because we do need those people in our lives who, when they ask us, how are you doing, that you can really answer that question. And I feel like that's what I've found with our community, is that when someone is checking on me because they can see that I've had a hard time with whatever is going on in my life, and when they reach out and like, hey, I'm just thinking about you, how are you doing? I know that I can say exactly how I'm feeling without having to think about how it's going to affect them, because I know that they know what that feels like. And not saying that I don't think about how it's going to affect them, because I do, but it's completely different thing because I know I don't have to explain myself.
That part. They'll just get it.
Because they just get it.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not like, oh, well, at least you don't have cancer anymore. I'm just so happy that you're good now. And I'm like, okay, thank you.
And if they only knew, it's just the beginning.
Like, yes, I'm so grateful. I'm so tired of this narrative of like, you're a cancer survivor, so you need to be grateful. Yeah, I am grateful. But two things can exist at the same time. I can be grateful to be a cancer survivor, and I can still be having a hard time with the after effects of cancer.
100%.
And one does not negate the other.
Nope.
And it's a pet peeve of mine when folks try to make it seem like, well, that I'm not being grateful. And that's not what it is at all.
Yeah. I got this the other day. Someone said, oh, you must be so grateful that you're going back to work now and everything's good. And my jaw dropped. I literally had to pick it up. And I'm like,
you're like, it's not.
It's really not.
It's better than it was.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
not
new
what
life
you
navigating
want it to be.
yeah, like I don't have a colon and well, that looks completely different.
Yeah. I think in addition to seeking out support from community, for me, it's been finding ways to channel my energy of this like struggle of survivorship. I think that there's this strange place that we exist in as survivors where some folks just want it to be in the past. They don't want to think about it anymore. They want it to be over. They don't want it to be a part of their lives, and they just want to close that chapter. And I think that there's some folks that are trying to navigate, how do I tie the two? How do I tie my survivorship into my life now? And then how do I move forward in a healthy way while still managing these things? And so it takes some coping skills and it takes some work to figure out how to manage this. And for me, a big part of it is it's accepting the fact that I have to pace myself. I can't just do things the way that I used to. It's funny because our friend Karen had posted something on TikTok the other day about how she's so used to being able to deep clean her house and from start to finish. I don't know if you saw that video.
The kitty litter?
Yes, exactly. So she was talking about how she has to pace herself and she has to do things in intervals now. And I hate that so much. I want to start a job and finish it. I don't like to leave things undone. But I'm learning that I have to choose, okay, here's my forever to-do list, and this is what I can do right now. And sometimes that means that thing isn't going to get checked off my to-do list today. It's going to get halfway checked off, but I have to pick it up again tomorrow. And so I think it's this, we go back to radical acceptance and accepting that this is what my life is for right now. And I don't know what it's going to look like next week. I don't know what it's going to look like next month. And I don't know what it's going to look like next year. And I just have to pace myself and lean into that struggle.
Yes, and I feel that for me, definitely, I don't have the same level of energy as I used to have when I could try to do tasks. And it's taken a lot to be, here comes the P word, patient. And have that self-compassion because I'm no longer at the same physical capacity that I was before I got sick. And it's taken a lot. I'm a work in progress.
Absolutely.
I can tell you this, though. Self-compassion and patience go so far. And it's easier said than done because the frustration of having to take breaks when I'm completing a task is a lot to process.
Same.
Especially when you weren't used to taking breaks.
Oh, yeah. I never took breaks.
Same.
I went until I crashed.
Yes, me too. So definitely patience and self-compassion make a huge difference in getting to that place where you can radically accept these changes.
Yeah. I think it's also just remembering that as humans, we're ever evolving creatures. Right? And it might feel like this is our forever, but when I look back to 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, I'm not where I was. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm also not where I was. And TikTok is really good about this little on this day, you know, and it's, for me, it's now 2 years, and seeing that 2 years ago, I was in active treatment. I was bald. I was getting ready to enter into the hardest part of my treatment. And so being able to look back at that and be grateful that I'm not where I was. And it's still challenging. It's still an ever evolving process, but it does change. And in some ways, it gets easier when you start to accept that it does change and it continues to change. And I know that other folks are dealing with the struggles of survivorship, and it's very real. And I hope that by us talking about this, and we'll continue to talk about it, that it helps people to feel seen in their experience. And I hope that, you know, whoever's listening today, that it also has given them some insight.
If we have listeners who have not gone through a major illness, that this sheds light on their family members or their friends who have gone through such a major diagnosis. And then now maybe when they think about saying, "How are you?" they'll pause and really think about what that question means to that person, you know?
Yeah, and I think, using our most unfavorite word, but having patience with yourself if you're going through it, and having patience with the people that you love if someone in your life is going through it.
Thanks for joining us on More Than a Diagnosis. We hope today's conversation left you feeling seen, heard, and maybe even a little more connected.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need it.
And if you're looking for a place to connect with others who truly get it, join our support circle at morethanadiagnosis.org, where we will continue this conversation. It's free, it's welcoming, and it's built for you.
Because no one should have to navigate this alone.
Until next time,
keep living, keep growing, and remember,
you are more than a diagnosis.